Hello, hello, chismosas, chismosos. This is Diana.
And this is Diana.
Chisme con propósito, porque si vamos a hablar, vamos a decir algo.
Si venimos por el chisme,
Pero nos quedamos por el crecimiento.
porque hablar se nos da.
Pero reflexionar también.
Because
if we're gonna talk,
we're gonna say something.
Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 3. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yes, buenos dias, buenas tardes, whichever time you are listening to us. How are you doing today, Diana?
I feel okay. It's been raining, so I feel like we don't really experience seasonal depression here in California because for the most part, we have really nice weather. Pero cuando llueve, like, te caga todo el día, dude.
Like, you can't do anything. I can't go on my walks, no running, no nothing.
You can't do your hair because then your hair gets all messed up. Hoy me sequé el pelo, and then I was like, fuck.
No, pues, ¿pa' qué, dude? No.
Yeah. Está cabrón aquí, pues. Well.
But we need the water, though,
thank
God. No, porque ocupamos el agua.
No, see, California's always in a drought. And I'm like, how?
We get out of it and then we're back into it in no time.
It's because people I am a true believer that your shower should not take more than 10 minutes. Diana out here looking at me like she takes 30-minute showers. There's no need for a shower that long,
15 minutes?
Okay,
I mean,
fine.
sometimes
15 minutes
just
if you have a lot of hair and stuff.
No, but it's que a veces uno se relaja, have the hot water, you know? It's like
Bruh, get in the sauna. Get in the sauna. There's no need.
It's like a small little moment of meditation for yourself.
Nah, dude, por eso se acaba el agua. You're the reason California's in a drought once a year. I swear.
And the green grasses. All the houses with the green grasses. We can blame it on that.
Just get fake grass. There's no need for real grass.
I know.
Controversial takes out here. Perdón, empezamos con todo. I know. So our chisme, because we're continuing our weekly chisme out here. So I can go ahead and start us off, Diana. So the other day I went to get my eyebrows done. I usually always get them threaded and then tinted. And this time I was like, you know what? I'm just going to get them threaded because I was planning to work out after I got my eyebrows done. And so I told the girl that I get my eyebrows done, like, oh, I'm just going to do thread. And she was like, oh, what are your plans for today? And I had told her I was working out. One of the things when you get your eyebrows tinted is that you can't work out or shower for at least 24 hours para que se te quede bien el tinte. El color. And so, you know, I told her that and she was like, oh, yeah, that's cool, whatever. She's like throwing my eyebrows and shit. And then I see her go into the cajon and I see her take out the tint. And I kind of just like look at her, but I don't say anything. That was also my fault. I didn't say shit.
You didn't speak up.
I did not speak up. And so she's putting the tinte on the thing. And she's like, pues ya le dio duro, right? With the eyebrows. And then she, I don't know what she said. But punto is that I told her, I think I'm going to have to cancel my workout class. And then she's like, wait, girl, you can't work out if, you know, like we just did your eyebrows. And I was like, yeah, I know. I originally just wanted to get them threaded. And she was like, oh my God, I can't believe I forced the service on you. Why didn't you say anything? And I was
like, but is it free now?
No, dude, me dio vergüenza. Like, le hubiera dado vergüenza. But I just told her, I was like, it's fine. Like, I guess I won't work out. It gives me more time to get ready. I had a wedding that night. So I was already kind of pushing it, dude.
You fill up every minute and hour of your day.
I really do, dude. Because tell me why I woke up that morning and I was like, okay, I'm going to get my eyebrows done at 9. That should take about 45 minutes. I was like, then I should be done by like 10. Then I'm going to run home, change, get to my workout class at 11:30. Class ends at 12:15. Rush home, shower, get ready, drive to Orange County because I wanted to go to the misa that was at 2 p.m. Yeah, dude.
No.
Doing the fucking most, every time.
Yeah, that's very much us though.
Yeah, but así es. Okay, Diana, what's your chisme? I can't wait to hear this.
My chisme is that my sister, aka who's our producer,
shout out to Adriana,
came in hot this morning. So just a little bit of context for everyone. So we record our podcast in my little casita and I live with my sister. So this girl came in knocking at like 8 a.m. in the morning hey, she's like, we gotta set up. She's like, or do you want me to clear up this space too? But she was like on it as a producer. Like in that moment, she wasn't my sister. She was just producer mode. Like, you gotta clean this up. You gotta set up. Like, I need to test the mics y todo esto. Y dije, ay, no.
She
It's
literally said, ¿te pones las pilas o te las
pongo?
pongo?
No, pues she didn't even have to tell me twice because I instantly got up and started like clearing up our little space where we record and cleaning up. No. So that's my cheese, man.
No, yeah, we love it though. We need someone to hold us accountable. And the one thing about Adriana is she's going to hold us accountable. No mamadas out here.
So those are our weekly chismes. This episode, we're going to be focusing just on everything that is happening within our worlds, our country, which is our current political climate.
Yes, and this one might be a little heavy, but I think we can't do a podcast or start off a podcast and pretend like shit's not hitting the fan and pretending, you know, that we're naive to like the shit that is like our reality and our community's reality. So we wanted to take this time to just talk about what's happening.
Definitely. I feel like now, I mean, it's always been important, right, to talk about like politics and the current presidency and everything that's happening, right, and how it impacts. I think it impacts everyone in different ways, right, whether it's personally because of their mixed status families, whether it's like job, right, or just being able to go out there and feel safe, right?
Yeah.
So we thought this was just super important to talk about. It's also only February of this new year.
Dude,
and
yes.
so much has happened.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I think the thing about politics is that a lot of people say they don't do politics. Oh, like I don't vote because I don't do politics, or like piensan que no les afecta. And what I always say is that politics is going to do you whether you acknowledge it or not. You know, the roads we drive on, like our phones, our internet, everything in our life is, you know, involved with politics, right? It's like ¿quién nos
our taxes.
Where
is our tax money
season
going? Yes.
It's currently tax season.
Yes.
And it's like, yes, where the fuck is our money going? Like, that tanto coraje paying so much in fucking taxes. And then that shit gets used for fucking war or for like increasing our military spending.
And this is why it's so important, y'all, to read the measures on your ballots. Por eso nos mandan the little pamphlets ahead of time so that we can read them, look at voter guides, understand what each of like the measure is. I feel like I do my research. I make sure that my siblings vote and that they vote right.
Yes.
That they vote right, because a lot of like the measures that we vote for, like they're the ones that are impacting us on a daily basis, right? Like the funding that goes towards like remodeling and constructing schools, right? Fixing the roads, beautifying our communities, the parks, right? All these public like spaces. So it's important that you read them and that you're also exercising your voice, because I feel like some people, at least what I've sort of like heard is with everything, you know, with the presidential elections and the candidates, like some people decided not to vote because they didn't know who to vote for. But it's like you gotta vote and sort of voting for the lesser evil of the two.
And I understand, like, yo, believe me, entiendo el coraje de la gente that it's like, why am I gonna vote for this shitty candidate? And I think that there's a lot of really great people doing amazing work. Something that I learned in the last election was that there's this new campaign for like uncommitted voters, where, say for example, I live in California, which traditionally votes blue, but I wanted to vote. This is just an example, right? So I wanted to vote for like Jill Stein, who's like a Green Party candidate. So then there's a voter in a swing state like Nevada, who is also not a fan of the options that we have. So then they actually partner you up with that voter in Nevada, and so you basically swap votes.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so it's called, and it's kind of like, say for example, right, you're in Nevada and you don't want to vote for the current candidate, but I will vote on your behalf here in California. So that way it's like the numbers are still showing up. right? Like that, like Jill Stein is still getting your vote, but I'm doing it for you. And then you're voting for the Democratic candidate. So that way, because your vote matters more in a swing state like Nevada.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, it was something that I learned this recent election, which I thought was really cool because, yeah, I feel like there are people out there that are really trying to switch up these traditional things that like we've always been forced into, like these systems. But just something, you know, for people to do their research and see like, okay, like what else is happening? Like, how can we really make our politicians listen to us?
That's really cool. I hadn't heard about that. I learned something new.
Pa que veas, eh?
And then I guess like, you know, with other things that are happening like within our community, I think the biggest thing right now is all of the ICE raids.
Yeah.
Right. And just the deportations and this whole idea that they're putting out there that it's the criminals. No,
my God, yeah, dude.
It's not. These are innocent, hardworking people.
Like, how are you gonna tell me a flower vendor is a criminal? Like, what the hell?
No. And it's been hard.
It has. I feel like it feels very heavy. I think sometimes I wake up and I'm so overwhelmed with like the state of our community and the fact that we're here. It's 2026 and we're still experiencing this. And I think one of the biggest takeaways that I've had is like the importance of having conversations with our friends and our family about what's going on. I think for a long time, people have chosen to ignore, you know, because I think the other thing that we have to recognize is that this isn't new. Right?
No,
like,
it's been happening.
It's been happening prior to this current, you know, president. And the sad reality is if we don't change things, pues va a seguir.
No, yeah, that's very true. I think deportations have been happening, but I think the way that they're happening now is very in our faces.
Yeah.
And these are kidnappings. Like, they are. Like
lo ves los videos, and it's so like heartbreaking, so upsetting because they're literally getting snatched out. And then it's like you see videos of people like at Home Depot, right? Que están buscando trabajo y se los están llevando. And I'm just like, what the fuck is happening? I think I don't even know how to process what's happening.
It's difficult. And I think the part that you said about like acknowledging what is happening, but also even acknowledging, I think, our own privilege of how lucky we are, right? To be to have a job, to know that, I mean, we have citizenship, right? Where we have some sort of like.
But even then, right, you hear stories of people who are citizens that are getting snatched.
Yeah, that they are.
So I think hasta it kind of creates a space where it's like you don't even feel safe.
No, you don't.
Right. I think before you would hear a lot about like, oh, citizens need to, you know, be there protecting. And of course, you know, I think we're doing what we can, but now it's just like, fuck, like ya ni nosotros estamos a salvo ya.
No, we're not, right? I mean, there's been a lot of stories of like activists, right, that have been out there taking care of like the streets. There's this woman that I'm blanking on her name, but she was in El Monte, and how they just like took her, they drove her around for like 3 hours, and then they did like just a stupid write-up and threw her in jail, and now she has to go to like court, right? And this is someone that, you know, was out there caring for the community. There's this other, he's a young, I would say like a young man, was just filming someone, I think it was a gardener that was getting snatched from the street, and him just recording. They ended up taking him.
Yeah.
His family had such a hard time locating him, and it was because of them sharing location that they found out that he was in like a detention center. I think it was out here in La Habra.
Oh, wow.
And then he had to like, you know, wait to be presented against like a judge, right? So it's scary times.
Yeah, it is. And I think that, again, like I was saying, like having these conversations with people and kind of seeing how can we show up in what ways, right? Like, I think it's important to, one, know your rights. Those are so important. I actually was reading a post today where a lot of judges are actually getting really frustrated with the current administration because there's been so many so many people who have been taken and snatched from the streets that are suing the government because they're not letting them go to bail, like all these things, all these things that before we thought were like
the
given
systems
rights.
that protected
the
and given
systems
us
that
rights.
initially were set up to protect us, to give us rights, are being completely like disregarded. And so judges that have been put in by Republican presidents, right, who a lot of times siento como que dicen, oh, only Democrats will, do something about it. But no, like, you have judges who are following like the law, and they're like, you guys are not doing what you're like, this is against the law. And like they're frustrated with the federal government because they are violating people's like rights.
Yes, I think every day there's like the judge is blocking this or the judge is uplifting this. Just news after news, like just the number of like detainments and deportations. And also all the physical and mental abuse, I think, of our communities. I mean, even within, households, there's parents that are not going out to like the groceries of fear, right, of getting deported or just picked up doing on a daily, routine to like the groceries.
Yeah, it's like you can't even like, there are people who can't even do just the basic things like go to work, go buy food, take their kids to school. And I think at the same time, I feel it makes me happy to see that there are people who are coming together. You see a lot about like what's happening in Minnesota and how their community has like stood up and like created like systems in place. And even here in LA, I think it's so nice to see that there's like a lot of mutual aid. So I think that's one of the things that like we want to encourage people, right? It's like show up, like see what, whether it's supporting mutual aid efforts, whether it's like donating to a family that's been impacted, but also like get involved and vote, talk to your family members about voting and things like that.
And I think it's also, sharing resources, right? That's another huge one. And I think how we started off, it's acknowledging what is happening, right? Just acknowledgement. I think one area that I've struggled with a little bit is the acknowledgement within our workspaces.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, these are our communities within LA, right? Especially as an admissions, the counselor and rep, like we're out there meeting these students, speaking with these families, and to not acknowledge how they're being impacted, I think says a lot about the institution, the leadership as well, right? And sometimes it comes, but at a later time. So appreciate it, but we need to be more on it and like speak up in these spaces, and also checking in with like your coworkers, because again, everyone is being impacted in like different ways.
Yeah, and I think that there's very much, I think a lot about like, for example, when I go into work, right, and I'm always like, people are like, well, how are you? I'm very honest, and I always say like, honestly, está cabrón ahorita. Like and I'll share like what's happening and how that's impacting us. I think we are naive to think that does not impact us. I think that people who say like, eso no me afecta a mí, are honestly, I don't even know how to describe them. It's just like everything affects us.
Everything. Absolutely. I think this whole presidency has affected me personally, within my family, within like my workplace, all of the budget cuts, right? Everything happening. There's hiring freezes. There's defunding of like research and a lot of programs that are meant to support our families and uplift like communities. And I think all of that sometimes isn't said enough or isn't recognized.
Yeah.
And it's not unless you're in it and that's part of like your work, right? That you're aware. But there's so much around social media, the news, like.
Yeah. And I think the other frustrating thing that honestly I always say like really grinds my fucking gears is now people are saying like, oh, I like, for example, we can talk about like the big beautiful bill que sacaron. Some people, pinche bill desastroso. But there are people who are like, oh, I didn't realize how it was going to affect me. And now they're bothered because les afecta. And I think that really triggers me because it's like, why does something have to affect you for you to care? You should care about others. You should care about the homeless person in the street. You should care about people that do not have your experience, right? I always think about in college, and that's why we're so big on higher ed, because it really exposes you to a different perspective. And one of those perspectives for me was the importance of like helping out those who are most marginalized and those who are most impacted by systems, because when you help the most vulnerable, everybody benefits.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then with this whole, I think a lot of people bought, into like groceries are going to go down.
Oh my God.
Gas is going to go down.
Eggs are so expensive. How much are your egg prices now?
Everything I think it's even more expensive than it ever was. So I think the campaign and everything, it worked because they got people to vote for him. And you can come up and say, well, I didn't vote for that. I didn't know that was going to happen. I didn't know that was going to happen.
Bro, like,
yes, you did.
This is a second presidency. So it's like, eres pendejo, te haces.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Se tenía que decir se dijo, you know? But I want to give them grace, and I really do hope that in this moment in time, they're really reflecting on their choices. And I always say, like, those of you who voted for who should be the first ones blocking the streets in Home Depot. You should be the first ones at a protest. Like, you did what you did, and so now show up and do something to show us that you do regret what you did. It's not enough to just say, like, I feel really bad. I didn't know that was going to happen. Okay, you didn't know that was going to happen, so what are you going to do about it?
Yeah. And I think the other part that really gets to me is that they have families, friends, right, that could be undocumented. They come from mixed status families, and they still voted because they fell into this whole idea of like whatever is best for our pocket. I did it because of the taxes. I did it because of like the money, I get it. But again,
I get it, but I don't support it.
But yes, I get it, but I don't support it because like you said, this was the second time, right, that this guy was running. I think we had him during the COVID years. I think because of COVID, he didn't go all in, but we knew this was coming. How many, I just feel like people don't do their research. I feel like we just sometimes fall very easy to the one thing that's said and believe that.
Yeah.
But it's like, we need to do our research. We need to be more aware, do our homework.
Yeah. And I think also call them out. I think that's something that my family will sometimes say that I can be a bit much. I don't know why they would say that.
Ay, no más
¿Por qué dirán eso, But because I call things out. And I've had family members that voted a certain way. And I always tell my sister will always be like, oh, Diana, like, ¿por qué dices eso? Or why are you, I make little, yo chingaquedito, I be saying little indirectas and stuff. And I always tell, like, I'm not going to normalize that thinking. I want it to be very clear that I do not agree with what they did. And I'm going to make them uncomfortable because people are getting taken from the streets. People are, like, their whole life is just getting pinche desmadre, honestly. I don't even know how else to describe it. But I'm like, I'm not going to normalize that thinking. So if there's one thing that I will do is I will fucking call that shit out.
Yeah, she will. She definitely will, with no filter, no shame, nothing comes in all hard. This is the Sagittarius in Diana. Yes. And I think that's where we differ because I feel like I need to have a conversation. Like, I need to understand why. I need to know how you came to that decision, because I think we have also very much always been surrounded within friends and even like within our workplace with like-minded people, que todos pensamos igual and like we're there, but there's going to be some differences, right? And I think
in the beginning I was very much at like fuck them, no, como pudieron, and still am, right? But I think there's also this other side of like, why did you do that? What led you to that? And I think I may not agree, but I want to know the why.
Yeah. And yeah, like I said, as for me, I am very much, I will try within reason. I think I will always give someone 5 minutes to explain. And then after that, let's wrap this shit up right now. I don't want to hear no more. But yeah, I mean, that's where me and Diana differ because I come in hot all the time. I'm a fire sign. I have a lot of fire in my chart. And so I very much am just like, no.
Yeah, this is how I feel. The Geminis were very much like, I know. We want to know the details, the information. You know, we're very adaptable. And I think that can sometimes make them a bit like indecisive at moments.
But at the end of the day, I think we know that we're here for like the common goal and like, we're here for our communities and our people.
Yeah. So, you know, por eso la aceptamos. But yeah, we wanted, like we mentioned in the beginning, we really wanted to dedicate just an episode to acknowledge what's going on. We do not have all the answers. I think that we are still trying to learn and trying to see how we can show up for our community and our, you know, our family. I think at the end of the day, like I see everyone as my family and my community, and I just want to be there for them and support them in the ways that I can. And for me, it's very much about speaking up and talking about these things and normalizing what's happening.
And to that, also take care of yourselves, y'all. I know that everything we see in social media, the news, you know, even just speaking with like neighbors, family members, like it's hard and it's mentally draining. So, you know, in moments, I hope you're all finding time for yourselves to take care of yourselves, because in order for us to be there for others, we also have to put our mask on first. So go on walks, enjoy your cafecitos, check in with people. I think that's something that I've definitely enjoyed, just like coffee chat, you know, working and doing coffee and checking in, because it's through those conversations that can be healing, and knowing that we're in this together. No estamos solos.
Yes. And I think an advice that we'll leave you all is find an organization in your community that you can get involved in and engage with those who have been impacted, but also those who are doing the work. I think we can admit that this is not our work area, right? But it affects us. And so find a space or organization that's involved in your community, that's doing some type of work, and show up in the ways that you can, whether it's donating, whether it's posting on social media, sharing these resources with your friends and family. Just do something. I think my biggest thing is like, don't just stay silent and do nothing.
Yes, because I think activism comes in different ways and forms. And for some people, it is being out there protesting. For others, is sharing resources, right? For others, is being there for the community as well. So I think finding your footing within that.
Yeah. So with that, we're going to go ahead and thank you all so much for listening to Chisme con Propósito,
where the tea is hot,
the takes are unfiltered, and somehow we still make it make sense.